Today is May 25th. This is Cobra. Cobra has had an ongoing issue of very sore lower back, lumbar area, and we have been able to work with him quite a bit. This is his fourth session in so many weeks. We're trying to get him feeling much more comfortable with his showing that's coming up and his jumping. Today, Cobra seemed really happy. He's sometimes really distracted and doesn't want to settle in, but I think he's starting to get to know me a lot more. He knows that I'm going to make him feel better, and there's a lot more trust. So that was really nice to start off that way. He allowed a lot of head pressing today in his forehead. He allowed a lot of jaw massage. He's not a fan of having his mouth touched, so I don't go into the mouth at all, but I did do quite a bit of massage around his mandible, and he was quite relaxed with that. As I went down his neck, the right-hand side is what he really struggles with. At least he has been recently. And so today I felt there was improvement over last week. He didn't seem quite as tender in that neck area. The right-hand side is more troublesome for him. I found in his splenius he had a lot of banding last week. This week he still had banding on that right-hand side, but it had improved a lot. It was a lot easier to kind of get it to relax and settle down. He was really responsive too. He put his head down a lot, which is quite a sign for him because he does carry his head really high and he's a very alert horse. But he was able to lower his head and kind of push against me and really allow me to get deep into those sore muscles. It was really nice to see. He did really nice neck stretching too, on both sides. So I think we're seeing huge improvements in the neck, which is great. Hopefully the rider's been able to work a little bit to get him to lower his head while he's being ridden. But yeah, he seems a lot happier that way. Both sides were good. The right was of course tighter, but the left was a lot more comfortable. But they both feel really good now that we're finished that. His withers, this week he didn't have any negative response throughout his wither area, which was nice. Last week was a bit sore, but he was really happy to have that massage deeply, and lots of blowing and lots of checking in with me. He kept his nose against me most of today, just kind of checking in. I was giving him lots of reassurance that everything was good, and he just seemed really relaxed. It was fantastic. Scapula, the right-hand side was really soft and limber. He was excellent about allowing me to get underneath the scapula into his shoulder. Left-hand side was a bit tighter, and it still is. I wasn't able to get as deep as I'd like to on this side, but he did allow me to get underneath the scapula. He did some really excellent leg stretching with it as well, which was nice. And it did really open up and loosen up for me, which was really nice as well. I was able to go all through his shoulder muscles, give nice deep muscle massage all through everything, and into his back. Now his back actually felt really good until I got to the thoracic 18 lumbar 1 vertebrae. Right about here, he is incredibly muscle sore on both sides, right where those vertebrae change. And the left wasn't as bad as the right. Let me make sure I'm right on that. Yeah, the left wasn't as bad as the right. He's sore, and this is where we've seen it before, although I think I'm kind of fine-tuning it now. The lumbar feels a little bit less sore today, but in here it is quite sensitive. I was able to do incredibly deep massaging in there. He was actually so good about it. And I think it gave him some relief. So he may be muscle sore tomorrow. I have a feeling he's going to be, just because I was quite deep. I did get a lot of release in there, and a lot of the muscle spasms and banding that I could feel softened. And he's actually, even now, he doesn't have nearly as much response to it as he had earlier. I did a lot of stretching, pushing his back up and pushing it back down in there as well. And I think that felt good. He did respond quite nicely to that as well. So the vertebrae is a bit sore there. Throughout his ribs, through his pecs, his girth line, everything felt good there. He absolutely loves having all that massaged nice and deeply, and was quite happy. Lots of blowing, licking, again, lots of turning to touch me, which is really nice. It's nice to see a horse respond that way, because you know you're making a difference. Then I went into his lumbar. Lumbar is where his main concerns have been all along. The lumbar is still pretty sore. The left-hand side is worse by far. I was able to get up on the stools above him, and he was really cooperative this time. He felt it was hard to get him to stretch the tail up while I was doing the lumbar stretch on the left. The right was good. He was much more relaxed on the right, a little bit more flexible, and the right I was able to do with a lot less upset. The left, he wasn't quite sure. It hurt. It hurt quite a bit to pull that tail up and really push into the lumbar, but I was able to get a lot of release in there. The muscles heated up really nicely, so we had really good blood flow, which was fantastic. It's always good to see. So that was really nice. I think he did well in that, and he responded well, so that was fantastic. My biggest concern, I think, now is when I was above him, I was stretching his lumbosacral joint. That is his point of croup, on each side of his point of croup. His left side is tremendously weak. As soon as I was able to put some pressure onto it, he would just kind of crunch and collapse down, and it just showing weakness. As I stretched, he did kind of tighten up, strengthen up, and he became more comfortable. He started to lick more as I did it. So I think, you know, it's just something we need to keep going on. I think it will strengthen with stretching and with, you know, exercise and top line work and stuff. But that is a pretty sore spot. The right-hand side wasn't as bad. It was a little bit off, but not as bad as the left. So I think, again, I think that's something he needs to continue having stretched regularly until it strengthens. If it's something that doesn't settle down, it might require, you know, a vet to look at it, or even a chiropractor, but hopefully we'll get there. He was a good boy doing it though, and some horses, they get really upset and they won't allow it, but he did. He thought it was going to be okay, and I just went really slow, so that was great. His sacroiliac joints, which is here above his hip bones, very, very strong on both sides. They felt terrific. His hip itself was good. We did a lot of stretching there. He had a little bit of banding on his right side in his glutes, and it might just be a compensation injury, or maybe just a little, you know, we wake up with a kink in our neck or whatever, and maybe he just had a little kink in his butt. Anyways, so I was able to soften that really nicely as well, and I did a lot of really nice deep massage all throughout his hips, and he felt really good. He was really relaxed for that. He had a really nice tail stretching, which was nice. He enjoyed that. He was licking and chewing with that too. I think just everything just felt nice. The one thing he did have again this week that he had last though was his gelding scar was quite responsive in a negative manner. Last week he tried to kick a little bit. This week he lifted his foot but didn't get as upset. So I continued on, and I was able to do quite a long, very slow, gentle massage in his gelding scar. So that might be bothering him as well, and I don't know if it would affect his top line, but it certainly isn't something that's nice if it's bothering them. So in general, he did really good. Oh, his back legs too. We stretched the back legs. He was pretty good. The left is a little harder to stretch, and it all comes back to his lumbosacral joint, but he did allow it, and he did the best he could, so we'll continue with that as well. We haven't done the carrot stretching yet, but we will, and it's always a hit. He loves carrot stretching, so it's a great way to finish up and give him a really good reward for being such a patient, good boy today. He was better than he's ever been to handle, so you know, he's just sweet, and he was a good boy. So call me or message me if you have questions, and we'll keep going from here. If you want to continue on with the massages, just let me know, and I'll be back next week to do them. Thanks. Take care.